All right, good afternoon. Well, let me just make sure to set this thing up right first. There we go. Share. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Black Buzz. Welcome to another episode of Black Buzz. We are here on Mondays, 2 p.m., where this is where we talk to entrepreneurs, black folks, especially black entrepreneurs. That's who we focus on in and around the community, people doing things in the community. Black business owners, male, female, young, older, whatever the case is. As long as we know that they're doing things in the community, we're here to promote them um, all over the GTA, wherever it is, right? We just want to give a shout outs to everyone on this platform. That's what we do. And we have our guest today. But before we do that, just want to mention that we are on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. Right, Miss Shay?
Yes, we are. And if you're interested in trying to get on to us, it's blackbuzz.to@gmail.com. We respond within 24 hours.
All right. Thanks for that little commercial there. Um, yes, Miss Shay is here with me. KP, our two friends are normally here, but it's okay. We'll link them up later on. But shout outs to them anyways. But we are here to talk to Mr. Revello. Did I say your name right, sir?
Yes, that's correct.
All right. Before we get into it, and by the way, folks, just share if you like the things that we do. Just go ahead and share, like, share, subscribe. All right. And if you are interested in being on this platform, just let us know, and we'll like Shay said, we'll get you on here. My name, Mr. Revello J. Smith, and he is the owner and operator of Exquisite Excellence. We are a mobile automotive detailing company. We specialize in some interior and exterior detailing, paint correction, as well as ceramic coating. Yeah, you're gonna have to break all of that down for us. Right? Some of us just drive. That's all we do. Revello has been detailing cars over 10 years now. Um, he started his professional journey by printing flyers and walking his neighborhood seeking dirty cars that needed to be cleaned. He continued to do this traveling by foot or even bus with his detailing bag, determined to grow his business. Fast forward to now, Revello works for himself full time, running his detailing company. He is fully mobile and travels throughout the GTA. Revello is based in Durham region, but is willing to travel as far as Richmond Hill to grow his business. Revello continues to work as a full time entrepreneur while ensuring he gives back to the community as often as he can. Yes, sir.
Hello, hello. How you guys doing today?
We're doing all right, man. We're doing all right. Um, you're the one that we're gonna be highlighting and focusing on today. So tell us a little bit about who you are. I sense an accent. What's your background?
I am very Canadian.
You're very Canadian, but
Very Canadian.
He was
what's
trying
your
to get company. Watch, watch. Go
Yeah,
ahead, answer the question.
what's the background though? You're Canadian, but what's the background?
I no, that's I that I'm my family is from Nova Scotia.
Yay,
Oh,
thank you.
okay.
Thank you. He was looking for
I
company.
I won't ask anymore. I won't ask anymore. I understand that vibe.
Yes.
He was looking for company.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so I mean, talk to us about you grew up in the what? Your family's from Nova Scotia, so you're there for a time or you're in
I
the
was
G.
always here. So I grew up in. I was born in Toronto, so I lived in East York for a
Hmm.
few years. But I've been in Durham region most of my life. My family and I we moved to Durham probably when I was 6 years old. So all my life I went to my elementary school was in Pickering. Maple Ridge, and I went to high school in Ajax at Pickering High. So
Okay.
Durham, pretty much the brunt of my life.
Yeah.
I've been detailing. I've been washing cars since I was probably 6 years old. And as I said, started professionally detailing cars when I was 12 to 13. And cars have always been a part of my life. I've always loved cars, but there was just a difference for me to be able to drive and to own a car that was always clean and always maintained correctly.
Yeah.
I was taught to take pride in the vehicle, so I just figured in my head, it's something that I'm talented in, it's something that I'm prideful in. Why not take it and use that opportunity to be able to grow a business through that, you know?
I think the bio said you've been doing it for what, 10 years?
Yeah. Oh, well, it's over 10 years.
Right.
When I say professionally, I mean just working at a detailing shop.
Okay.
I've at shops for about 10 years, but I've really and truly I've been detailing probably since I was about 10 years old. And like I said, I was just 10 to 12. I was just going out, just knocking the neighbors' doors, cleaning their vehicles for them. But my first professional job was when I was about 15 or 16 years old.
Okay.
So when you say detailing, that means the cleaning of the inside of the car?
Yes, interior and exterior.
Okay.
But the specification and the difference between washing a car and detailing,
Yeah.
it's from washing a car could take me an hour to wash a car.
Okay.
But for an example, yesterday I detailed a car, full interior and exterior, and it took me about 8 hours to finish the car. So there's a lot of intricacies and a lot of things that can be done that separate a wash from a detail.
So, all right. So, talk to us about
Mhm.
what that is like. I mean, generally speaking, I wash my car, I pull out the vacuum, I go inside, but it doesn't take me 8 hours. So, talk to me about what's like to detail and what are
Right.
some of the things that you do.
Okay, so there are a few different things that I do when a customer buys a full detailing package from me.
Yeah.
I oftentimes like to sit with the customer or call them, however it works, and just to figure out what it is that they're looking for from their car.
Hmm.
And then once they explain to me what they're looking for, quote them and things like that. But as far as the detailing is concerned in the actual process of it,
Hmm.
for me, it's to the point where, like, for example, if they say they want a full steam clean and shampoo of their full interior, um,
Hmm.
I'll remove the front two seats so I can make sure I'm cleaning underneath the seats, cleaning the
Oh,
underneath the seats so that we're getting all of that dirt out of the vehicle. Uh,
yeah.
Even as much as steam cleaning the vent. So if I can take the vent apart and clean the vent properly, I'll do that. The cup holders and even where the gear shifter is, there's a lot of pieces that can be easily taken off from there. So I'll take
Mm.
those pieces off, clean those pieces properly. The engine bay with headlights and taillights, if they're easy enough to remove, I've removed taillights so I can clean the housing inside of the tail light and the metal on which it sits. Just because when you think of all of those things where detailing is concerned, any water, any buildup that gets inside of the headlight housing or in different parts and compartments of the vehicle, if it's not removed, then it's easy to create rust and it's easy to create little marks or water marks or whatever else. So what happens is the customer's trying to clean their car, but they're never satisfied because it was never properly detailed, right? So
Right.
detailing isn't something that has to be done all the time, but when you get one or two a year that's done properly, it's a lot
Uh-huh.
easier for you to maintain the car throughout the year.
Wow, that's very like detailed. My
Yeah,
goodness, I don't know what I was thinking. I mean, I hear it all the time, and I even see some people do the detailing, but I can't say I've actually seen it. You
right.
take off headlights, you take, you say
Headlight,
remove the seats.
yeah,
No, and
removing.
and I understand because the vacuum just can't get underneath there, right?
That's exactly it. You know, like the one spot I always talk about is the spot where if you have your steering wheel on your left, your armrest on the right, right
Yeah,
in the seat there, your
right there,
vacuum is not going to get to that. So oftentimes the seat needs to be removed or at least lifted from the front so that
right.
vacuum can get under there and clean it properly. You know.
No, and funny enough that you mentioned that because as you say it, I'm thinking about that spot right now because I see a car down there that I have to get something
Right.
to. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
Yeah.
So how did the love affair with cars and detailing and washing start?
So I would say that the one probably the two largest influencers of that for me was my dad and my eldest brother. My eldest brother was a car fan as well, and from a young age he would always just whether it was a Hot Wheel car that he would buy me or even just while we were driving, he would test me. He would look and see a car and be like, "Hey, what kind of car is that?" So I would look and I would try to figure out the name of cars, kind of figure out what that car was, and even the operations of the car, learning how the car worked. I would sit in the back and I would watch my dad drive, and I would
Mm.
figure out what he was doing, so that by the time I turned 15 or 16, I already knew how to drive. I just hadn't had the chance to do it yet because it wasn't legal, right? So I would do that, and then even when I was younger, almost every Saturday or Sunday morning, me and my dad, we would go down to a car wash, just a coin car wash down by our house, and we would go and we would just wash the cars. So from a young age, I had been always working with cars, washing cars, or like I said,
Mm.
with my brother, he was buying me gifts, posters of different cars and things like that. So they definitely had a
I don't, your voice chipped out there. We didn't
oh,
hear that
sorry
last
about that.
sentence. Yeah.
Yeah, so both of them were a massive influence on me where vehicles were concerned. Uh,
Right.
and it's funny, I played sports all through high school and things like that, but cars has always been something that I've loved from a very, very young age.
Wow. I
So
mean,
once you finished school, you just went straight into it?
Yeah, once I finished school, so well, essentially, I was in Windsor for a little bit, so I took supply chain and logistics
Hmm.
because I was still detailing and I was continuing to detail, but everything I was doing with the detailing was always part time. And I think as an entrepreneur, that was a part of my fear of starting a business, is because I'm like, I can do it, but I'm not ready yet. And it wasn't that so much I wasn't ready. It's oftentimes you just need to have faith and you need to take that leap. So I was working part time as a detailer. So I went to school for supply chain and logistics because I figured, well, I'm like, it's easy enough. I can work my way up within the company. I can get a good job and I'll love it. Did that for a little bit and I didn't like it. So then I got another job working at a car dealership where I was detailing cars, and it was like, okay, this is it. This is what I love. So I kept doing that. I would get more training and more certifications.
mm,
But then I just kept realizing, like, I'm still working for somebody else. I'm not doing this for myself. I'm still doing
right.
it for someone else. So I eventually kept progressing to the point where I finally said, you know what, this is what I love. This is what I have to do. I have the knowledge that I need. I have the education that I need. I have the certifications that I need. Now all it is that I need to create that mindset for myself and trust that I can be able to do this. You know.
So in terms of you say you take things apart and all that sort of stuff. Of course, and you have to have some knowledge of how to take them apart. How does that vary from car to car? I mean, the owners, do they ask you what kind of skills you have in terms of doing that, or when you let them know you have to do that? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, so oftentimes, and I think how it varies for me is it depends on the package that they select, right? So
Yeah.
sometimes the owners say, you know what, I'm not too comfortable with you removing the seats. I'm not too
Mm,
comfortable with you removing this. And I said, no problem. I let them know that's not a problem because obviously at the end of the day, if my customer is uncomfortable with something, I'm not going to be comfortable doing it because
right.
I don't want them to be going thinking like, oh, my light might fall out or
Yeah. Yeah.
seat isn't torqued properly. So I
Mm,
always let them know. I give them that option. And then oftentimes, what I'll do is even I'll show them on my own vehicle. Just give them that practical example. Hey, let me show you what
mm,
I can do with my own vehicle, how I've done it in the past.
mm-hmm.
So that's kind of what I show them. I give them a few different examples, but I also give them the option if they decide, you know what, I'm not comfortable with that.
Yeah.
Then essentially I just lessen the package that they got and still detail the vehicle, but I just do it in a different manner where nothing has to be removed.
Okay.
Yeah.
How in terms of that aspect of the detailing,
Mhm.
how often do you get to do that? Is it more often or less often in terms of the job itself?
With full detailing, that's like one of my full service luxury packages.
Yeah.
uh, I would say that more often now I'm getting to do that than I was before. um,
Hmm.
and I believe it's just because of the fact that I do my best to try to remind the customer the importance of vehicle maintenance, because as much as I can just come and wash the vehicle, um,
Yeah.
a vehicle is an investment, and
Hmm.
I want to make sure that the customers have that vehicle, and if they want it for a long time, then I help them to be able to maintain it for a long time. So a lot of the customers that I have now, I have them set up on somewhat of a monthly maintenance package. So
Hmm.
oftentimes what I'll do at the beginning of the year, I'll come and I'll let them know, okay, this is what we're going to do. We're going to do the full detail, the full service package. And then once a month after that, we can just maintain your vehicle. It's going to be a much lesser price, but at least you're maintaining your investment, you're caring for your investment, so that way you don't have to worry about rust and things like that happening to the vehicle on a long term, or on a short term, because of the fact that it's being properly maintained.
How do you educate them? Like in terms of the, keeping the vehicle not just clean, but
Right.
doing certain things to make sure that, your vehicle will be all right, or you're not damaging the vehicle, or how do you educate?
Right. One of my easiest examples is my own vehicle. So
Yeah,
I oftentimes will. I don't like driving a dirty vehicle, so I oftentimes try to make sure that my vehicle is clean. So
yeah.
what I do when I go to a customer's house and I offer them a service, and like they might question it, I'll give them a perfect example of the exact service I'm going to offer them on my vehicle. So there's
Hmm.
something that I do, and it's called a clay bar treatment or a decontamination. And oftentimes customers get weary of it because the clay bar is actually a physical piece of clay that you have to use, wet the surface of the vehicle and rub it back and forth on the vehicle so that you can
Hmm.
remove any decontaminants and dirt from the vehicle. The weariness that customers have with that is my paint going to get scratched? Is it going to get
Yeah.
damaged? How's my paint going to look afterwards? So what I normally do is just say, let's walk over to my vehicle. We'll do it on my vehicle. You'll see how it's going to look on my vehicle, see the benefits of it, and then you tell me if you decide that you're going to like it or not. So with that being said, like I said, my vehicle is really the guinea pig for a lot of those
Yeah.
different situations, because at the end of the day, yeah, you can scratch your own vehicle, but just don't do mine. Don't do it to mine. You know what I mean? So I try to make sure that my truck is in good condition, so that way if I ever have to try something on it, at least I know
Right.
the customer is going to be comfortable with it.
So
We are, one second there, Shay. So we're here talking with Mr. Revello J. Smith he's the owner and operator of Exquisite Excellence, detailing business in the Durham area, but he's flexible. You call him, he can work something out. Go ahead, Shay.
so you mentioned something called a clay bar something. How did you okay, so you decide to start
Yeah,
your products, your thought process. Where are we going? How did that start? Like that very that either that Tuesday morning, aha, I'm gonna start.
right, right,
What
right.
did you do?
So honestly, when I started, it was very different and very, I would say, a little bit more difficult for me than it is now, because now we have things like Instagram and YouTube where we can just go to and look up videos. When I
Mhm.
started, I wasn't thinking to go on YouTube. I wasn't thinking to go on Instagram and look up a how-to video to figure out how to do these things. So I knew that I could clean a car very well, but there were certain things that I'm like, I could do it better, and I just didn't know how. So what eventually I started doing was I started reaching out to different car dealerships,
Mhm.
and that's really when I started working on a more professional level. Was when I went to a car dealership and I told them, I said, I want to be able to clean cars, but I want to learn how to do things differently, how to do things better, because I want to make sure that when my customer gets their vehicle, they're looking at
Yeah.
the car and they're able to say, hey, you know what, my car looks like it did the first day I bought it, right? So I started working with the dealerships a little bit more often, just so I could figure out what it was that they were doing at the dealerships that was giving them that upper hand, so that I could learn those tricks and tools on my own and figure it out. Because other than that, like, I was really just at Canadian Tire buying my products from there, because that's the only place I knew to get them from. And then outside of Canadian Tire, I was going to a lot of coin car washes, because I figured, I'm like, if these guys are going to these coin car washes on their own, someone must know how to clean a car properly. So I would go there and I would see what they were doing, and then I would ask them questions like, "Oh, how do you get your paint looking like that?" So oftentimes, just literally going out and asking different people, or even going to different dealerships and starting working at different dealerships, so I could get some more experience on the different tools and products that I could use that would make the overall finish of the vehicle better.
I know you say you've been doing this for 10 years, but when did you set up your company? Like what, registering it and all that sort of stuff and
So
getting it going.
my company was registered, probably, I want to say I registered it 3 or 4 years ago.
Okay.
That's what year we're 2020. Yeah, so about 3 or 4 years ago, I registered the company.
Mm.
When I was 18 and 19, I was still working consistently and full time, not well, part time, as often as I could with the detailing. Uh,
Yeah.
but yeah, I would say when I was probably about 3 or 4 years ago was when I officially registered it, because that's when I kind of made the decision where I was like, you know what, like, I've been doing this part time. I got to start putting more time and effort into this company if I want to see it grow, if I want to see it progress. So that's when
Mm.
I registered.
Yes, Shay, you had a question. You wonder?
Yeah. You said that you worked with some companies. Were they very supportive, or were they aware that you were going to start out on your own? And if they are, were they supportive of you, like giving you vendors and information and all those type of
Right.
things?
Right. So a couple of the companies were unaware that I was working on my own and starting on my own. I, because I wanted to make sure that I didn't get hit with, oh, that's a conflict of interest. You can't
Yeah,
work,
yeah.
right? So I'm like, I had to keep it very quiet, keep it very low key, kept doing my thing. Um, and then there was a few companies that were very supportive, but things just didn't necessarily work out. There was actually one company that I worked for more recently, within the last couple of years, that was extremely supportive. They knew the fact that I had my own business and that I was doing it on the side. Even to the point where, to this day, I have the owner's information. The owner of that company says, if you need help, if you need a hand, feel free to give me a call. She's even told me, when you're hiring employees, to give her a call so she can walk me through that process and give me some tips and tricks. So that company, like I said, it was a very, very supportive company. I go by there every now and then just to say hello to my former coworkers and bosses and stuff. But yeah, they were very supportive of what I'm doing, and what I'm continuing to do. So yeah,
Do you find it feel to be competitive?
I
Because
would say I would say yes. Um, I would say yes, competitive. From my perspective, I try not to compete with anybody, because I think in any situation there's always an opportunity for someone to learn something. There's always an opportunity to gain a mentor or whatever the case might be. So I try not to compete with anyone, but it is a very competitive market, because there's certain areas, even in Durham region, that are very, very much saturated with detailers. Um, I find, even aside from the competition aspect of it, I find that the difference with separating a person that washes cars and a detailer has become very clouded, because a lot of times dealerships and different places will offer detailing services, but they're just washing the vehicle.
Yeah, yeah. That's pretty
It,
much.
it makes it very, very difficult for me, someone that comes through them as a professional detailer, and I give a customer my price, and they look at me like I'm crazy, because they're like, the dealership only charged me $80 to $100, but then when they hear what I'm doing, then it becomes a little bit of a separation. So there is a little bit of a competition in that aspect, but it's also because, like I said, there's not a clear separation between what a car washer does and what a detailer does.
Winter, summer,
Yeah,
detailing. How
yeah.
does that work?
So I get a couple layers of long johns on. I get to put them on. Get to work. I will tell you,
The
last year,
long johns.
my la-
Oh my gosh.
my last client of last year was December 31st, and my
Yeah.
first client of this year was January 2nd. So I am a detailer who will work all the way through. Generally in the wintertime, how I do it is I just do interior only, because if I'm
Mhm.
wetting the car and it's minus 15,
It's gonna freeze. Yeah.
by the time they
Yeah.
try to get in.
Yeah.
So I just try to focus on interior only and help the customer to maintain the clean interior, because we know the salt stains and everything like that. Those are
Yeah.
the hardest things to remove from a car. So
Right.
I try to help them maintain the vehicles throughout the winter time by offering just interior only details, just so that way they can make sure that at least throughout the winter time the inside of their car is going to maintain, and it's gonna be maintained and still look clean.
What are some of those? Well, maybe I could. I was gonna ask you like some of the tips in terms of the salt stains and all and whatever else that we have to endure in the
Right.
winter or the summer.
Right. So a good tip for salt stain, the best thing to do, I think, to avoid them, number one, is a fabric protector and some good WeatherTech mats or some
Okay.
rubber mats. Just
So switch them out then.
exactly, switch them
Yeah.
out. Oftentimes, people leave their cloth mats underneath the rubber mats. Um,
Yeah.
it's better to take the cloth out, put them in the trunk, and then just put the rubber down. That
Yeah.
way, the rubber can fully fall on the floor, and if there's any salt, at least the salt is going to be falling onto the rubber. Um,
Yeah.
as far as the removal of salt stains is concerned, an easy trick is just some hot water and vinegar. Hot water and
Okay.
vinegar will help you to get rid of some of those stains. So that way, if you get a stain and you say, you know what, I can't get to a detailer until a couple weeks from now, At least if you pour some hot water and vinegar on it, scrub it a little bit, and then wipe it up. At least when you go to the detailer, it's not so much of a heavy stain that he or she has to deal with. It's
Yeah.
something a little bit lighter. As far as the summertime, um, definitely a good thing to do is the one thing I do is like a ceramic coating or some sort of a paint correction.
Hmm.
Because with the summer, even a lot of people don't realize, but rain is very, very acidic.
Yeah.
Not very good for cars and their paint at all. So essentially, if you have a car that you bought brand new and you haven't really washed it or put a wax on it or done like a ceramic coating, your paint is probably going to wear and fade much faster than someone who has those coverages and protection on their vehicle. Just because of the fact that the rain is falling on it, the weather, whatever might be happening, it's happening to your vehicle all the time, right? So just it makes it better if you, like I said, have a ceramic coating or some sort of a wax to protect the vehicle.
All right. So I know you're on social media. While you're talking to us, we're gonna pull up your social media account. So is it you're on Instagram and you are on Facebook as well? I think we have Instagram up. All right. And this is where you say you're active.
Yes, exactly. This is where I'm active. I try to share to Facebook often, but yeah, this is where I'm most active, posting a lot of pictures and videos and things like that.
And I see like a variety of cars there. You deal with a lot of high-end cars. You deal with
Yeah,
luxury. Like you
yes.
get them kind of clients.
Yeah, honestly, you know what it is? I think oftentimes where I'm concerned, I want to make sure that I'm not specifically focusing on only one type of client. I want any customer or client to feel free and welcome to call me, to book an appointment with me. Uh,
Right.
there is other shops that only focus on high-end vehicles, which is great because that's their market, that's their niche, you know. So I try to make sure that I'm not, I don't turn anybody away. Anyone can come with any vehicle that they have, old or new. And like I said, I'll take my time and I'll take care of their vehicle to the best of my ability.
Do you like design your own like detailing products? Like you were just giving me a tip about vinegar and hot water.
Right.
I mean, do you have your own like thing that you come up with just to make the
Um,
thing go?
not necessarily. Like I have a few products that I kind of will mix together that I know if I mix them together and make it a little bit better. But I don't really have anything um, that I use. More so, it's really just like my air fresheners, or
Mhm.
maybe even more so in the process of how I'm doing things might be a little bit different. But yeah, I don't necessarily have anything that I've used on my own that's separate from what another detailer uses. But
Right.
times if I do have anything like that, it's because a mentor or a coach has showed me that, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. This is Instagram here. You do these little videos and you post them on there.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. That white covering there, is that soap or is that a particular solution?
No, that's soap. It's just it's soap with wax in it as well.
Okay.
Yeah, soap
Okay.
in it as well. Yeah.
A lot of times when people wash their cars,
Hmm.
there is a debate between like if you don't like go to the store and get something, whether or not you can just grab your soap, your dishwashing soap, or
Right.
grab the shampoo or something like that.
Right.
Is that good or that bad or we shouldn't do that?
You should not. You should not use dish soap. You should not use shampoo or body wash, uh,
Yeah.
because when you think of it, um, really and truly, those products on our skin aren't
Hmm.
necessarily the greatest things either. Um,
Right.
they're made and created to strip the skin of anything that's on there. Um,
Right.
so when you think of it, when you get out the shower, you have to lotion or you get ashy. With the
Right.
vehicle, if you use that soap on the car, you're not really putting anything else on top of the car afterwards. All you're doing is drying the car off. So
Right.
you stripped everything that was protecting the car off of it, and then
Hmm.
your car is left out in the sun, just
Hmm.
dried out. The paint is dry. Everything's dry on the car, but there's nothing put on the paint that's actually going to help protect it, and help to make sure that it doesn't essentially dry. Now, car's not going to dry out. What's going to happen with the car is that the paint is now going to be exposed to everything and anything, right? So now you're gonna have to deal with the weather. You're gonna have to deal with rocks and stone chips and things like that are gonna potentially have a negative effect on it, right? So that's why those soaps, you don't really want to use those soaps. It's always good to go to Canadian Tire and get some wash and wax. So we could probably find some there for about $20 to $30. Just some soap that has water, that has a soap rather, and then the wax in it. Those are always soaps that I recommend to get for the vehicle.
How do you decide on your prices? Is it based on the amount of work that you got to do? Is it based on the kind of car? Is it an SUV? Is it a pickup truck? How do you decide?
Right. So there's a variation to how I decide on the prices. So I'm often number one thing I do is often if the customer wants a lot of work done, I'll
Yeah.
ask them what their budget is, and I always try to work within the customer's budget to make sure that they don't feel like they're getting ripped off. But then at the same time, from a business perspective, it's going to be fair for the both of us.
Mm.
So I'll try to work with the customer's budget as best as I can. But it does have to do with a lot of times the work that I am doing. For example, like ceramic coating, something like that. The products are not cheap to buy from my end of the spectrum. So buying the products and then the work that I have to do when I'm ceramic coating a car. Ceramic coating generally takes me anywhere from 12 to 24 hours to complete. So something like that is obviously on a little bit higher on the end of that end of the spectrum. But at the same time, I do try to make sure I still have competitive pricing
Okay.
in terms of the detailing industry. But yeah, and it does, like I said, it does vary based off the size. So if someone comes to me with, for example, like an 8-seater minivan with all cloth seats that they want shampooed, I would charge them a little bit more for that versus a Toyota Yaris with leather seats.
Okay.
And it doesn't vary based off of say, for example, someone comes to me with a 99 Dodge Caravan versus a 2020 Dodge Caravan. I'm still going to charge them both the same price for their Caravans. It just, like I said, just depends on the size, and even whether it's a luxury vehicle or not. I'm not
Yeah.
going to charge someone more because they're bringing a Lamborghini to me. If the Lamborghini is the same size as a Honda Civic, I'm charging them the price I would charge them for a Honda Civic.
Okay. Any other? Oh,
My
sorry.
question is, are you cleaning the Tesla in a suit?
I was cleaning the Tesla in a suit.
And you're using a blending brush. You know
Yeah.
how expensive a blending brush is?
What's funny, because I had no idea what a blending brush was until I made that video, and then I was told and explained what a blending brush was. So
I'm here watching the video. I'm like, did he use a good blending brush? You know, expensive a blending brush.
Man is serious about his business. What you talking about?
part of the reason I did that video like that, throughout high school, I've always had the mindset of an entrepreneur. So throughout high school, when I was in school, I was working at Tommy Hilfiger part-time as well as the Bay. And oftentimes I had to be in a shirt and tie and dress pants. So through high school, almost every day I was in school wearing a shirt, dress pants, and a tie. Not even because of the job that I had, but also because I wanted to. So a lot of people that went to school with me, they are used to seeing me wearing a suit all the time, wearing shirt and tie and dress pants. So when I thought of making that video, I wanted to present something for myself and for my brand that people that knew me, it would make sense. And then people that didn't know me, they would be like, you know what, if someone's going to clean my car in a suit, maybe I should call him, So I wanted to make sure that I was attracting a new audience, but then also reminding an old audience of who I am and what I do.
What about? Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Do you have a particular place that you use? I see the Tesla was inside of a garage area, and I saw a symbol on the screen. So do you have a particular place that they come to you, or you go to them?
So I do have a spot that I use right now where they can come to me. But as the summer progresses, it's actually a lot not easier. But it is easier. It's easier for me to go to the customer. And the reason being is because, for example, there might be a morning where I have 2 customers in Richmond Hill that I have to go to. And then I have a customer in Bowmanville or wherever else. So with the space right now, I do use the space, but I don't use it too often, just because of the fact that if I can't get back to the space in time, I don't have a car waiting there all day. You know what I mean? So mobile is really kind of where my focus is right now. Because at the end of the day, I do eventually want to have a full-time shop that I can be at, that I can be working at. But my focus right now is to bring the convenience to the customers by going to the customers, going to their homes or to their jobs as the world opens back up, and being able to detail their cars wherever they might be.
What is the range of your prices? Don't be specific. Like we're talking start at $2 and then like $1 million. What is your range?
Okay. So So my
You can give us specifics too if you want.
yeah, so I'll give you my range. Or I have three different services that I'm more so focus on.
Hmm.
And so for my regular detailing, I generally start at about $150, and that goes up to about $200. And the differences with that is just the size of the vehicle. So 150 for your two-door Honda Civic, and then $200 for your full-size pickup truck or full size SUV, something like that would be around $200. I have luxury packages that start around $225. All of my luxury packages include shampooing and steam cleaning, as well as the cleaning of the engine bay. And those, like I said, start around $225 and go up to about $275 to $280 for that. So that's regular and luxury. And then above and beyond that, I have my paint correction and my ceramic coating. And essentially, those packages start around $500, and then they go upwards of $1,500, and nothing really too much more than $1,500, unless like I have a few cars that I've done that were a little bit more than that. But like I said, generally around 1,500 to 2,000 is where I try to cap all my prices and things like that. Just because, like I said, I want to make sure that the customer is comfortable with it. I make sure I'm competitive in terms of pricing, as well as reasonable where the customer is concerned.
How often do you do the 1,500?
Um, I would say I do that right now. I'm probably doing that a couple times throughout the summertime more often than the winter. But I would say I'm probably doing around on a yearly basis anywhere from 50 to 80 customers on a yearly basis.
Wow.
Yes.
They really like that detailing package there.
Yeah, so that one it's one of my top end packages. That one essentially is the ceramic coating. And now to break it down to just so you guys know what I'm talking about when I say that. So ceramic coating, essentially what I do is I do a full paint correction. And what a paint correction is that I will wet sand the vehicle, I'll buff it, and I'll polish it, removing any fine scratches or any larger scratches from the vehicle. I go around and I touch up any paint defects, any stone chips that the customer might have on the car. And then once that's done, I apply the ceramic coating. Now, a good way to understand what the ceramic coating is, if you had a liquid layer of clear coat and you were to pour that on the vehicle, it's essentially the same process as ceramic coating, but it's much more intricate in the fact that I can only do about a foot of the car at a time. So I have to work in small sections, go around the car, apply it, remove it, and then it needs about a 12-hour dry time. And then once it's dry, based off of the chemical bond and the chemical makeup, it's actually putting a thin, glossy layer of glass over top of the car. So that way, whenever the customer gets back to their car and they go wash it, it makes the car look new like all the time.
Okay, so for me being a girl, is it like the similar effect of resin when you put heat over it? It just has that glossy.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
See?
I would.
Guys, it's not hard for girls. You just have to speak our language.
You know what? And it's like a resin or the what do you call it? Shellac.
Okay,
Oh, okay.
It's on
nail
the
polish.
right?
Got you.
Right. So you have your nail, then you put the shellac to protect
On top, yeah. Okay.
Right. So that's essentially the same concept as ceramic coating.
Does it work on rust parts or no?
So it doesn't work on rust, but the benefit to, like I said, the ceramic coating is because I have to do the full paint correction. So with the paint correction, depending on how much rust you have, I'll correct that first, put the actual paint back to normal so you don't see the rust, and then I put the ceramic coating over top of it.
Nice.
Right. So it's pretty much the ceramic coating. How that whole process works is pretty much like it's almost a full restoration of the vehicle that I'm doing first, and then once I fully restore the vehicle, then I put the coating on.
I know you said this already, in terms of, your future. You said you'd like to get your own shop,
Yes.
right? Like how long from now, or you're thinking of?
Reasonably, I'm thinking within the next 3 years, I'll be able to acquire my own shop.
Yeah.
I want to be able to offer a few different things as well as detailing, but I think within the next 3 years, I'm going to be looking to have my own detailing shop.
And it's just gonna be specifically that. Are you getting into it?
I'll be doing detailing. I might offer a few other things, including like it's still all going to be associated with detailing, but like tinting of the windows.
Okay.
Things like of the lights, a few things that might be customizable for vehicles. I'm thinking of maybe offering different, like, you know how you see those cars with the crazy colors on them, like the wraps and things like that. Just because I'm like, those are all really the finer details of cleaning a vehicle. So those are different things that I would definitely consider offering as well.
Just a shop or two shops or like what do you think?
I think maybe just one large shop, one large
Okay.
because I think within the next probably year and a half, my goal with my mobile, I want to continue with it, but I'm hoping to have a fleet of cars on the road. So that
Mm,
way, as I have that fleet of cars, I can be more focused on myself being in the shop,
okay.
taking care of those customers in the shop, but I still have my fleet of vehicles that are out and about doing different things on the road.
How has the pandemic affected you?
You know what? It's actually it's been a blessing because the pandemic has terrified people of germs, and
Hmm.
because of the fact that I offer sanitizing services,
Hmm.
I've been getting calls left, right, and center. It's my business has actually grown tremendously throughout the pandemic. Like I said, which has been a blessing for me because it's a service that people are looking for, and then even aside from the germs, people are at home and they're bored. So I'm going by their house and they're like, "Oh, my car's been parked for a year. Can you clean it up for me?" And it just, like I said, it's definitely been a blessing.
Follow up to that. You said business booming. So would you say you're making money? The turnover is good?
Yes, no, the turnover is very good. Yes, I'm definitely making money, and the turnover is really good. When I say I'm making money, the business is making money. I don't.
Okay, right. That's what. Yeah,
I'm not saying I'm not taking a paycheck right now because I get
yeah.
like my focus is to make sure that I'm building the business to its full potential first, and then take care of myself down the line and in the long run.
But you can at least buy yourself a burger, so that's good.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Get a burger every now and then, get some oxtail and rice, and I'm good. You know.
You
What is
hear that, Shay Oxtail? You see, I knew there was something there, but it's okay. It's okay. It's all right.
Canadian? Let it go. What is the worst, if you can tell us, what's
Yeah.
the worst state have you that you've seen a car in? Like, or have you seen a car that you said, you know what, I know you guys are willing to pay, but I just can't go down that road.
No, I have. I have.
Them noodle stains too deep.
And you know what? It was I had a car and it was the nicest person ever, and I really wanted to help them out, but they let me know that they worked construction in the summertime, and then they were what they were doing snow removal in the winter.
Hmm.
They had a car, so they didn't have anywhere to put the shovels other than the floor and then the back seat.
Yeah.
If you know how a salt stain looks on the floor, just imagine that on the back seat of a car, and the seats just happen to be gray. So
Hmm.
I thought they were white, but the seats were actually gray because of the fact that there was so much salt stains on the seat. And I, the customer asked if I can just try it out and see how it goes, and I tried it. And when I tell you, about 6 hours later, after 3 extractions, shampoo, steam clean, extraction, when the
Hmm.
seats dried up, they looked exactly the same. Like there was
Well,
nothing that I could have done. And the customer was like, "So what's my option?" I'm like, "Honestly, Canadian Tire, get some seat covers
yeah.
and cover that up because there's really nothing else that I can do."
Wow.
Yeah.
What do you have a team, or it's just like a team of two, three, or a bunch
No,
of people?
just a team of one right now, just myself. So I'm the only one that's doing it right now. Um,
Right.
Eventually, I'm going to be getting a team fairly soon because it's just me, like with the Instagram, the answering the customer calls, responding to the quotes. It's just me. So I'm learning how busy I'm getting.
Hmm.
And then even with the invoicing and stuff and getting home, and it's like, oh, it's 11 o'clock, but I haven't done all my invoices yet. So it's like I
Yeah.
got to make sure I'm getting all that done. So I will be hiring someone. I'm thinking I'll probably start even with the social media side first, get someone to manage my Facebook and my Instagram pages and YouTube and things like that. And
Right.
eventually start hiring someone that works alongside me. So then as I get busier, and then when I say I want to start branching out and get another vehicle, I can
Uh-huh.
have them to man that vehicle. But at least they've been working with me long enough that I'm comfortable letting them go on their own.
Well, Revello, this is a shameless plug, but if you're looking for somebody to manage your social media,
Yes.
FCM Solutions,
Okay.
letting you know in that it's a shameless plug, and I'll let her know that I'm telling you to.
Yeah.
FCM Solutions, Keisha Favors. Check
Okay.
her out on Instagram.
Okay.
It's a
Yeah, but
shameless plug.
she'll
Trust
do
she,
she'll do a good job of managing that.
yeah,
Yeah.
she's amazing. So FCM Solutions
Oh,
on Instagram.
okay. I'm gonna have to look her up so I can make sure.
Please do. Shameless plug. I'm not ashamed.
It's a plug. There's no shame. Just a plug.
Oh. But yeah, she's really good at that type of. She's also good at admin stuff, but we could talk about that later. But
Okay,
put
okay.
it out there in case people who are watching, you're looking for somebody, she's also available.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, man. I mean, in terms of, I think I learned a lot more about detailing.
Yeah.
Right. Not that I'm a car enthusiast or anything like that, but just in terms of all the things that you've said,
Right.
um, I see people do things like as I stated before, but man, I didn't realize it was just so involved.
Yeah.
Right.
It is. It really is.
Now that you said it, you know what? I'm gonna go connect with a friend of mine. I'm gonna do something with my seat. State my seat. I gotta get underneath that seat, man.
Yeah. Yeah. And honestly, with depending on the car you drive, you
Yeah.
might take the top two, the front of the seat and
Yeah.
lift because a lot of times they lean back. So as long
Right.
as the top of it lean it back, that should be good enough for you to be able to get everything else underneath the car.
Wow. Any other, I mean, you're young, you're an entrepreneur, you're black. I mean, what kind of encouragement would you offer, to individuals like yourself,
hold
young
on.
man, young, yeah,
Before he answer that,
yeah,
um, as a car person, a
Yes.
lot of times women have no idea what you're talking about.
Right.
How
hmm
do you handle it? Because even just now, you talked about stuff and you switch it to shellac, and I know exactly what you're talking about, or resin. How do you, because there are a lot of women out there, I know they want to get their cars done. However, the treatment is that the moment somebody finds out it's a woman, all of a sudden it goes into a speech or a vernacular we don't understand.
Right.
How do you go around that?
So,
hold on, let me give you a two-part to that. So, what is your female to male clientele like? So
right.
just answer those two, the two.
Yeah. So okay, so the female to male clientele, I do oftentimes get a lot more males than I do females.
Okay.
I've realized is when I do get the female clients, it's their brothers that are coming with them.
Yeah, yeah,
Hey, my sister wants a detail. This is what she needs. What's the cost? Right. So
right.
that's kind of how that works. How I deal with the explanation of what it is that I'm doing. So I always make sure that I remember I have a mother and I have a younger sister. So
Mm,
Mhm.
whenever I'm explaining to a female what it is that I'm doing, I think I think back to okay, well, if someone's explaining this to my mom, what's the best way for them to explain it so that she's going to be able to understand it as well as my sister. So oftentimes where the shellac is concerned and things like that, that analogy that I use, I will oftentimes use stuff like that. Like, for example, leather conditioner is very good for your seats, and a female will ask me, well, why would I use leather conditioner? I explain it just the same way that you would use hair conditioner. It moisturizes the scalp and makes sure that your scalp isn't going to be dry.
Yeah,
Or even like something like an oil-based moisturizer to make sure that your skin doesn't dry out. So
mm.
oftentimes I try to make sure that it's relatable for them, so that way I'm not coming to them with, oh yeah, let me ceramic coat the car and let me do
Man
a
speech.
rank.
Man speech.
Right. Because for me, it's like this: if I explain it to them that way, oftentimes they're gonna be okay, cool, thanks, and they're not gonna message me back. They're not gonna call back because they had no idea what I was saying to them, right? But if I even sometimes what I'll do with my female customers,
yeah,
I'll have them send me pictures of the things that they want corrected on their vehicle, and then
right.
correct those things, plus do a little bit more. This is what the price will be, and then I just go and get it done. So as long as I show me what it is that you don't like and on your vehicle right now, I'll fix that, do a little bit more, and then go from there.
Ladies, you heard. Ladies, you heard. I'm watching out there for y'all. Okay. Right.
Exquisite excellence,
Yeah.
doing it up for everybody, male, female, rich, the not so rich,
Yes. Exactly. Exactly. Like I said.
winter, summer. I mean, what category am I missing? Oh my goodness. Yo, this is nice, man. I want to make sure that everybody knows about Revello and what you do, boss. This is real nice. It's nice. I love this. All the information that you're putting out there. You
Mhm.
know your stuff,
I do
right?
try to.
You're you're able to answer the questions just right off the bat. I mean, it just shows that you're very passionate and excited about what you do.
I am. Thank you. I am. I am.
So, I mean, do you like I know I'd asked you about the team and you said no, but are there any like young people who see you do stuff and you end up teaching them or mentor you, giving them some tips or anything like that?
Honestly, I want to say yes and no.
Yeah.
The reason I say no is because I don't think I have anyone that I specifically mentor right now. Um,
Right.
Anytime it can be another detailer, it can be just a young person, anybody.
Yeah.
If someone does come up to me and ask me a question, I don't hesitate to give them an answer because I was that kid one day. I used
Mm-hmm.
to be that kid, and I used to ask, "Hey, can you tell me about this or can you tell me about that?" And
Mm-hmm.
I've had those people that say, "Oh no, I can't tell you. That's my secret." And
Mm-hmm.
the reality is that listen, there's enough money in the world for everybody to make a good living, make an honest living, and create the success that they want for themselves. So
Right.
for me to try and hold that back, I'm like, why would I hold that back from someone else rather than saying, hey, you know what, come. And for me, I think of it like this. I would even love an opportunity to work with someone that wants to be a detailer as well, have
Mm-hmm.
them come along, work with me, they shout at me or whatever, and I give them what kind of whatever information I can give them so that they can be able to go and start their own thing. Because I think for me there was no better feeling than when I could wake up in the morning knowing that I'm the one that's creating my own schedule, my own
Mm-hmm.
successes. It's not that it's easy, but at the end of the day that I'm able to do that on my own. So for me, it's like, why would I hold this knowledge and just keep it for myself rather than
Right.
somebody else? Um, One of my favorite quotes. I can't remember. I think the last name was Henry, but essentially what the quote says is that there's no need for you to keep everything and all your talents and all your information inside of you. The best thing for you to do is to give it out and to die empty, so you can die knowing that you did everything that you wanted to do. You gave everything that you had to give, rather than
Mm-hmm.
saying, "Oh, well, you know what? I had this $6 million idea sitting in my shoulder blade, but I didn't want to give everyone that secret, so I kept
Yeah.
it. I hid it. I kept it in." And reality is no one's gonna know about that by the time you pass. So for me, it's like any information that I have that's been a blessing for me, why not
Mm-hmm.
take it and give it to someone else to potentially bless them? Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Loving all that I've heard so far. Any final thoughts? I mean, we just got a few minutes left. In terms of what you're doing and how you're doing it, and business. Anything inspiring or inspirational or whatever. You're an entrepreneur. You're young. You're black, and you're doing their thing, man.
Yeah. So I would say the one thing that it stuck out to me as I got older, and
Hmm.
heard the quote all the time when I was
Yeah.
young. But
Yeah.
yeah, that makes sense, and I agreed with it, and I loved it, but I never did it. Um,
Mm.
and it says, if you fail to plan, you plan to
That's
fail.
a fail. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Basic quote ever, and everyone's heard it and everyone knows it, but no one actually went through and did it.
So it's not so basic after all.
So basic after all, and I got to a point where I have it. I literally everywhere I go, I carry it with me. I have
Yeah.
my little book of my
Yeah.
plans, and
Yeah.
anything that I want in life, anything that I want to accomplish in life, I write it down. I put a date to it. I make things specific in that, and I just trust that God's gonna allow these things to happen in my life as long as I continue working according to His will. And um, I think that would be the one thing. The second thing I would say is just to trust yourself, because
Mm.
you can ask people about, oh, do you think this is a good idea? Do you think this is a bad idea? What do you think I should do where this is concerned? And
Mm.
people's own fears will be
Mm.
projected onto you and
Right.
essentially hold you back from doing the one thing that you want to do the most in life.
Right.
So that's what I say, plan, because if you don't plan, you plan to fail. And then the second thing is trust yourself, because at the end of the day, if I hadn't trusted myself, I would never have taken this leap, and we probably wouldn't be having this conversation right now. You know,
Why you're a young man with an old soul. When you pulled out that black book and you say, "Yeah, I write it down." You didn't show the smartphone.
no, listen. And the thing is, trust me, even the writing aspect of it, to be able to hold a pen to paper,
Yeah.
makes so much of a difference for me. It makes so
Yeah.
much of a difference. There's different things that I've been able to, even at home, writing on my wall, not on my wall. Listen, I got a sticker, put a sticker.
Yeah. Right.
Saw the look. I put a sticker up and I write on the sticker first, and when I do that, it's I don't know, like it's something different for me. It's the physical aspect and opportunity of being able to write a goal of yours and then
Hmm.
go back to it in 6 months and say, yo, I did that, and put a check mark beside it or erase it or cross it off the list. It makes you feel good, and then it inspires you like, oh, okay, let me write something else down because I still got 6 months left in the year. Let's see what else
Hmm.
I can accomplish.
Yes, sir. All right, here he is, folks. Exquisite Excellence, Mr. Revello Smith. All right. Hit him up, contact him. You know, you want to get your car right, looking right. People are trying to get that summer body. All right, let's get that summer car.
Yes.
Hey, you make sure to write down these little gold nuggets. You know, I'm giving you something.
I listen. I got my pen and paper handy, man.
Listen, man, I appreciate you coming on, boss.
You guys, thank you. I appreciate you.
Glad we, in doing something like this, like I said, the pandemic and the social unrest allowed us to come together to do something like a Black Buzz,
Yeah,
because we really wanted to highlight Black folks, Black businesses, and anything related to Black folks.
yeah,
And I really like meeting individuals like you. I, sometimes I say that you're brave when you're behind the computer and all that sort of stuff, but
right.
it's really giving us the opportunity to step out there and connect with people like you, man. Really loved it. Miss
Yeah,
Shay, anything to say?
No, I'm excited. He already helped a lot. I'm going to share this with a lot of women because I know, even for me, in certain situations when I ask about cars, I go through my friends. And the fact that you are able to speak to us
right,
in what we would understand about things to do with cars is really great, because it's something that that's just something that has to change
right.
generally,
Yeah,
but it's helpful to know that that there are men out there who are realizing the concept of mansplaining doesn't work all the time.
of course.
I
Yeah,
mean, so that was just really good. And also it's great. Like you put your foot to you put a foot to the engine and you just went with it, and this is great. I love it. And
yeah.
I'm glad that you're not Jamaican because he would have had a field day today.
It's in his soul. It's in his soul. We hear it. We hear the
Had a
oxtail.
I'd be
field
We
there.
hear
day.
the-
I'm just glad. Nothing against Jamaicans for those who are watching the video. It's just that he's looking for company. I just feel like sometimes I'm outnumbered. Okay? I'm outnumbered. Don't want Trini. Okay?
what I'm doing here is that I'm just I should have done it already. I'm subscribing. I'm sorry, following you on Instagram.
Okay.
Instagram. It's a mobile what detailer.
Yeah, Mr. Mobile Detailer.
Okay, Mr. Mobile Detailer. That's what I'm doing. I'm
Make sure I get you back. Yeah, I on the Instagram name, like I said, the company name is Exquisite Excellence. The Instagram name is that way just because to say to someone Exquisite Excellence and try to get them to spell it on Instagram might not be the easiest. But
mhm.
tell them Mr. Mobile Detailer, it's going to be easy for them to find me, easy for them to remember and type it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, we're on. We're good. All right, folks. Here he is. Remember, like I said, hit him up, hit him up, hit him up. Exquisite Excellent. He's on Instagram. He's on Face. Oh, we didn't even show the other social media account, Shay. It's Facebook, right?
right. That's all attached to my Instagram as well, though.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
attached to
All
my
right. So that's good then. That's easy. We can do that. Shout outs to T Kicks, Tia K. I said I'll do it at the end. Tia K does shoe customization. She's one of our partners on here, right?
okay.
But she's busy doing some stuff right now. T Kicks, if you want your shoe customized, hit her up. Shout outs to Lamar. Lamar is the one that make a lot of the tech stuff that we're doing right here go, and he's a young black brother um, in doing his thing as well. Until next Monday. All right, folks, we will connect once
Hold on.
again.
You didn't introduce yourself?
Who, me? Introduce who, me?
Yeah, you didn't introduce yourself.
KP is good enough, man. Just my face and the initial is good enough. All right, folks. Next Monday we'll be back. Same bat time, same bat channel.